Hey there, little earthlings, and welcome back to my channel. I feel as though there's a little theme going on my channel, and I think the whole space theme kind of fits me calling you guys earthlings, so the start of that nickname begins. I have something a little different for you guys today. I'm going to be telling you some creepy Reddit stories while I play my cozy little autumn save for Halloween. I honestly made these Sims just for this video, which is kind of pathetic, but I am in love with them. But yeah, we're going to cycle through 4 Reddit stories today. I kind of skimmed through some of them just to make sure that they were actually creepy, but I did not read the entirety of them at all, so you will be getting my genuine reactions to them. I will, of course, link all 4 of those stories down below. Of course, I can't go on without explaining who these little Sims are, can we? No, of course not, especially not in our cozy little autumn save. A brief little description of these 2 right here. This is Selena Falls. She's our fairy. She loves the outdoors. She's a natural cook, a bookworm, green thumb, and friendly. She likes the color spice brown. She likes fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches, which sounds freaking delicious, and dark wave. She is a Sagittarius, of course, just like me. Our birthdays are coming up, by the way, if you're a Sag. She's kind of like the sunshine to our, what's that trope? Sunshine and grumpy or whatever the frick. I don't know. Sunshine grumpy trope going on here. She's our sunshine. Griffin, on the other hand, our guy Griffin Burrows, I really can't make men Sims, so please just don't judge. I think he's cute and I would have taken forever on him if I didn't stop. He is more of our grumpy. He has good sense of humor, loves the outdoors, hot-headed, kleptomaniac, and a schmoozer. He likes black, cheesesteak, and dark wave, and he is a Leo, so 2 fire signs. Interesting. He is our warlock of the 2. I do love vampires and I do love werewolves, but I love playing with magic in this damn game, so that's what we're going with. And of course, we are playing in Moonlight Falls because what is better than Moonlight Falls? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There were a couple custom worlds that I was looking at that are more on the Halloween-y kind of like scary side, but nothing is better than EA's Moonlight Falls. I almost said Mystic Falls. You're a Vampire Diaries girly. You'd know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we also have 2 pets. So this is Ghost Burrows, which is Griffin's dog. He is a Australian Shepherd. He's playful, adventurous, and friendly. And then of course we have Onyx Falls, which is our girl Selena's kitty. He is friendly, hunter, and independent. This is our little house that we're playing in. I made it over a little bit. It's kind of bare. They have no money. But actually the portal just came in though, so I'm going to sell that. Thank you very much. Oh, I love this glitch. I love this glitch so much. Okay, cool. Anyway, this is like a whole enemies to lovers trope kind of thing going on. There's not much story. Oh, cool. University mascot. There's not much story going on behind them. Just that they ended up in the same house. Unknown circumstances will build that as we go. But he's talking to Dee Dee Wynn, which is he's kind of eating right now. I also kind of made him a little taller, so things might be off if he's interacting with people. I think we should get into those stories, shall we? I'm so excited. So the first story, oh, Sugars. He is flirting with this bitch already. Goddamn. Okay, Griffin. Griffin does not play. So the first story is by Blair Daniels, and it's called I Worked as a Night Guard at a Grocery Store. They left a strange set of rules. Oh, she wants to become friends with Flora. Bitch, of course we can. But we do have to go feed our children, so. Oh, look at her flying. I love it. Okay, anyway, let's start the story. I saw the job listing 2 weeks ago. Wanted, night guard at West Market in Redacted, Pennsylvania. 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. shift. Oh, okay, we're attracted. 21 an hour. The whole thing struck me as odd. right off the bat. What kind of grocery store needed a security guard while it was closed? Was the crime really that bad? But I needed the money badly. And 2 days later, after a phone interview with a man named Clive, I showed up for the first shift. As soon as I pulled up, I sort of understood why they needed a night guard. Oh, who's this random bitch? Who is he talking to? Hello? Receive flowers? Okay, now he's talking to Jin? Who is this? No, baby boy. I'm gonna send him to the elixir shop now that we have, like, some money. The grocery store sat at the edge of a rundown strip mall. Large signs reading space for rent hung in the store windows. I'm not good at multitasking, so I'm sorry if that's like annoying for you that I keep skipping in between the story and commentary. I am trying my best. I have ADHD. But judging by the dusty glass and flickering street lamps, no one had taken them up on an offer in years. I parked near the front door, and as I approached the building, I saw a woman hurrying away from the store. "You must be Erin," she said breathlessly. "The night guard?" "That's me." "Clive left you some instructions. I put them on the conveyor belt at Register 1. She gave me a polite nod and then stepped around me, heading for the only other car in the parking lot. "Oh, thanks. Be friendly," my inner voice scolded. "She's your new coworker." I turned around. "Hey, what's your name?" But she was already diving in the car, I'm sorry. I cannot read. The door slammed, the car reeled out of the parking space, and then she was gone. So much for a new friend. I turned back towards the store. The parking lot was completely empty now, and the nearest streetlight was flickering with an odd, erratic rhythm. A cold wind swept in, whipping a crumpled paper bag across the parking lot. Oh, hell no, girly pop. Hell no. What do you think you're doing? Reinforcement, scold for being destructive. Please do not scratch that. We just got... Hello? What did you just... What just broke? Oh, great. She fucked it up. Cool, thanks. Bitch. Oh, goodness gracious. Am I gonna be, like, annoyed with this already? Where is he? Oh, he's at the fucking... Oh my god, litter box. Hello. Let's get a little litter box, shall we? Not that I could put it anywhere normal. Okay, it's going on the front. Can you believe that? Front porch. Well, here goes nothing. I stepped up to the store. The glass doors squeaked as they parted for me, and then I stepped inside. Despite its outward appearance, the store was actually pretty nice inside. Bright fluorescent lights shone from overhead. Jazzy music played from hidden speakers. I headed over to Register 1, where a folded piece of paper was waiting. I flipped it open and began to read. Dear Aaron, welcome to the West family. We sincerely hope you enjoy your first shift. To help you, we've compiled a list of rules that should make your shift as easy as our fresh-baked apple pie. Love that. Ooh, Beatrice Crumplebottom. Hello. He's just gonna be making friends at this point. So the first rule is, as night guard, you are expected to patrol the store every half hour, making sure nothing is amiss. You may spend the rest of your time in the break room at the back of the store monitoring the security camera feeds. Do not go down aisle 7. Do not look down aisle 7. I don't want to know what's down aisle 7. I really do not. If you hear a knocking sound coming from within the freezers in the frozen food aisle, ignore it. Oh, fuck. Jesus. That's scary. I don't like it. If you see a shopping cart that hasn't been put away, please return it to the shopping carts at the front of the store immediately. Do not be alarmed if you find a pool of blood in the meat aisle. Sometimes our meat packages leak. Simply head to the storage closet, get the mop and bucket, and clean it up. However, do not step in the puddle or touch it in any way. What the fuck? I'm scared out of my mind, actually. She's playing in the ocean? I don't quite understand. But okay, sure. It's 70 degrees out. Go ahead. Number 6 is, if you see a woman in the store, immediately go to the break room and stay there until she leaves. Do not call the police or report a break-in. Do not make eye contact with her. Number 7 is, the music we play throughout the store is a pre-recorded disc of instrumental jazz. If the music ever stops, immediately go to the break room and stay there until it resumes. Number 8 is, do not, under any circumstances, end your shift early. Thank you so much, and again, I hope you enjoy your shift. Clive, I don't know if I want to take this job anymore. Clive, Listen, Clive, I don't know if I want to take this job anymore. Oh, animal familiar from cat, reminder pet, cute as hell. I should have gave him the fucking cat. That would have made more sense. I stared at the rules, rereading them slowly. They were so weird. A woman in the store, avoid aisle 7. I'd never been given instructions like this, even when I worked as a bouncer at a nightclub in the bad part of town. Maybe it was a test. They wanted to see how well I could follow instructions, no matter how absurd they were. I looked up at the security camera staring down at me from the corner. Okay, challenge accepted. I glanced at my phone, 12:06. Might as well get my first patrol out of the way now, before getting settled in. It was odd walking through the store when it was so empty and quiet. All the breads and muffins had been stored away somewhere. White opaque plastic had been put down over the vegetable display to keep the cold in. While I got to the end, I made a right into the meat section. She has the natural cook trait, so he's just gonna eat some green salad for now. Sheets of plastic had been pulled over the meat coolers too. I saw flashes of red through the gaps, a massive ribeye and sirloin steaks. Big slabs of meat with the bones still intact. I averted my eyes. While I wasn't a vegetarian, I never really liked the sight of raw meat. I turned instead to the aisles. Aisle 3, pasta and sauces all lined up on the shelves, glinting in fluorescent light. Aisle 4, cookies and snacks. Aisle 5, aisle 6. Oh, right, I wasn't supposed to look at aisle 7. What did she just do? Oh, she broke her her phone. Chattering, see, they're gonna play a trick on him. You don't even know him. You're gonna play a trick on him? Baby girl, that's probably not a good idea. Respectfully. I'm gonna let it happen though. I forced myself to look down at the floor. Yeah, it was stupid, but they told me not to look. In the off chance they were going to check the CCTV footage later to grade my performance, I was going to follow every rule. I want to see this real quick. I continue further into the store. A few minutes later, I found the break room, a nondescript brown door with a little square window cut into it. I took note of its location for later. As soon as I was done with this patrol, I was going to break out my laptop and finish watching Friday the 13th 4. Good movie. And then I was at the west end of the store, the frozen section. I turned down the aisle, heading back towards the front. That's when I saw it, a shopping cart, parked askew in the middle of the aisle. I huffed. Of all the rules, this was the one that annoyed me the most. I was hired to be a security guard, not a cleanup crew. Wasn't it the employee's job to put all the carts away at closing time? I mean, yes, but I also feel like the security guard should also be making sure everything is in order. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Sighing, I began pushing it towards the front of the store. The wheels rolled smoothly underneath me. The jazz music played softly in my ears. I turned the corner and walked past the cash registers, heading towards the front door. That's when I heard it. A soft sound, barely audible over the jazz music. I stopped, straining my ears to listen. Several seconds of silence went by and then I heard it again. It sounded like someone crying. No. I'm okay. I'm really okay, actually. What the fuck? Was that Dante? Because, Jesus, that was terrifying. The hairs on my neck stood on end. There's no one in here. The door's been locked the whole time. Unless a customer had accidentally stayed past closing time. Maybe that employee, the woman I'd run into the parking lot, didn't notice them and locked up before they could get out. Who's there? I called out, a wailing sob in response. My heart plummeted. It sounded like a woman, or possibly even a child. I'm coming, I called, breaking into a run. Where are you? They didn't reply. They just kept sobbing. I frantically continued in the direction of the sound, calling out to them. Clean up, bitch. Hello? Telling them everything would be okay. But then I stopped dead. The sound, it was coming from aisle 7. Dun, dun, dun! Okay, sorry. Do not go down aisle 7. Do not look down aisle 7. The rules have been very clear about that. I stopped just short of the aisle next to an end cap display of mayonnaise and carefully positioned myself so I was hidden. I'm going to help you, I called out. Can you tell me what happened? They finally spoke, but they didn't answer my question. Help me, the voice cried through more sobs. Please. I wanted to step into the aisle. My foot was already halfway off the floor, ready to run in there and comfort them. But something stopped me. A gut instinct. A little alarm bell going off in my head. Because out of all of the aisles, what were the chances this person would be in aisle 7? That's what I'm saying, bitch. Don't trust these whores. They don't want anything but... I can't say whores on YouTube, can I? Probably not. Don't trust these bitches. Oh, 3 a.m. lag that makes my game look like a cartoon character. No fucking way did my game just fucking crash. Not only did I have to restart my game and replay all of what I played, I had to change Griffin's outfits again because for some reason they reset. I'm not really sure why. But anyway, here we are. In the morning. It is 5 a.m. and Griffin literally just woke up. First of all, can we just... Holy shiitake mushrooms. Alrighty. Back to the story. And besides, they were safe. They were in an empty store with me. It's not like they were in a dark alleyway in the middle of the night. Come out of the aisle, I called, my voice shaking a little. Then I'll be able to help you. Please, the voice replied. Help me. I'm not going into no weird aisles. I'm sorry. That's not how this works. This is stupid. Clearly some person got stuck in here after closing time and they're scared. Just go into the aisle and help them get home. But there was another part of my brain, the instinctual lizard brain part, and it was screaming at me to not move a muscle. Do you need me to call someone? I tried. Your parents or family? The police? Help me. The voice pleaded again. The help me. Oh my Lord Jesus. Griffin, you scared the shit out of me. I'm reading a scary story. What the fuck? The help me. It sounded the same each time they said it. A little stutter at the beginning, an emphasis on me. It almost sounded like a recording or some AI generated thing, looping over and over. It didn't sound natural. I'm sorry if I get stuffy halfway through. I'm crying, literally. I can't help it. It's just creepy. It's not scary. It's just creepy. And I can't help it. I'm just a girl. Oh, she left her juice box out. She doesn't deserve breakfast. Come out of the aisle, I shouted. Come out and I'll help you. The sobs got louder, faster, hysterical. Help me, the voice pleaded again, in a desperate tone that made my stomach twist. I stood there, pressed against the mayonnaise display. The mayonnaise. Compliment appearance. Whoa. She was about to go take a shower. You're about to flirt with her? That's a bad idea, baby girl. I'm not one to cancel shit like that, but I know for a fact that you should not be doing that. Listening to them sob was making my stomach flip-flop, even if it did sound slightly unnatural. I could call the police, I thought. They'd know what to do. Would they? Except I'd left my cell phone with my backpack at cash register 1, and getting it would mean crossing aisle 7. The rules didn't say anything about walking past aisle 7. They just said I shouldn't go down it or look down it. And I couldn't just stand there and do nothing. What if it really was someone who needed help? A child who'd sprained their ankle and couldn't get up. Don't worry, I'm getting my phone and calling the police, I called out. Then I took a deep breath and stepped across the threshold of aisle 7 towards register 1. As I took a step, the crying stopped. Just like that. Violent sobbing, and then, in an instant, nothing. Like a switch had flipped. Then the footsteps started. No, not the footsteps. Not the footsteps. Not chattering teeth again. Oh, it didn't work. He reversed it on her. Oh. Well, bitch, you're the one that tried it. What the fuck? Oh, shit. He's just gonna yell at her. Ooh, he's a hothead. It's just how it is. Oh, no. Ask if he slept well. The summer festival's in. Ooh, the fairy house. Okay, sorry, I have ADHD. Do I have enough money for the fairy house? Probably not. No, I don't. Loud, slapping footsteps of someone running down the aisle. Way too large to be a child. Coming straight at me. My heart dropped. It's a trap. They're coming for me and I'm probably going to die here. But as soon as I made it across the aisle, the sound stopped. All I heard were the soft jazz tunes playing through the speakers overhead. I hightailed it to the break room, completely forgetting about the cart I was supposed to return. The break room was small and cramped. The little square window in the door had been blacked out with construction paper from the inside. Creepy as fuck. But okay. The only source of light came from the computer screen on the desk, displaying the security camera for feeds. Sorry, I can't read. It is currently 3:34 in the morning, so. I scrolled through the feeds. I quickly noticed that none of them offered coverage of aisle 7. It seemed like the cameras were intentionally placed to avoid that aisle. After searching the grainy black and white video for anything amiss, I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes. When I finally opened them again, it was almost 12:30. Time for my next patrol. Patrolling every 30 minutes is absolutely crazy. Because what do you mean? I didn't want to go. I felt safe here, locked up in this little room. But I also knew I wouldn't be safe if I didn't listen to the rules. I shuddered and imagining what would have happened to me if I'd gone down aisle 7, if I hadn't listened. I pulled myself out of the seat and headed for the door. The store was completely silent, no hysterical sobbing or pounding footsteps. I started my patrol near the back, walking up aisle 17. Cans of food glinted on the shelves as I passed, but when I glanced at them, I didn't see any labels I recognized. No chef ravioli or giant green men, just generically labeled cans of meat stew. In fact, all the aisle had was meat stew. The same cans, over and over and over. Ooh, they're cannibals, aren't they? What? Oh, they just had their first kiss! I reached the end and turned right towards the front of the store, and that's when I realized that I had already broken one of the rules. The cart. I hadn't returned it. It wasn't where I left it. Instead of haphazardly parked near aisle 7, it sat next to one of the cash registers, like some ghost man was checking out his groceries. I paused for a second, hands hovering above the handle. Then I grabbed it and headed towards the door. Outside, the parking lot was pitch black. Not a single street lamp. The shopping carts are only a few feet from the door, I told myself. Just go in and out. It'll take 2 seconds. I did it as quickly as possible. I ran into the darkness, slammed the shopping cart into the row, and dashed back inside. Then I shut the doors and clicked the lock. Okay, that wasn't too bad, I said to myself, letting out a sigh of relief. For a second, I reveled in the peace of the store. The silence. The safety of being locked inside with no one else with me. But then I stopped. Oh no! The silence. The jazz music. Oh no. It wasn't playing. How long had it been off? I'd been so preoccupied with returning the card I wasn't even paying attention. I broke into a sprint towards the back of the store, cookies and snacks flashing by me. Then I swerved right and sprinted into the break room. I pulled out the list of rules and read them over again. Do not, under any circumstances, end your shift early. Why did he write that? Was it just because he didn't want anyone flaking out on him? Or if I left early, would some horrible fate befall me? Because I really wanted to leave. I opened my backpack, pulled out the soda I'd brought, and popped it open. Took a sip, scrolled through the security feed. 5 more hours. This is like Five Nights at Freddy's on steroids. The next 4 patrols went fairly well. The rules didn't say how long they had to be, so every 30 minutes I sprinted a lap around the store as fast as I could. The whole thing only took about a minute. Then for the other 29, I locked myself in the break room. On the second patrol, I heard knocking as I ran down the freezer aisle. It started as light tapping across the glass, then crescendoed into loud thumps, like someone was slamming their palms against the glass doors. That's creepy as hell and I don't like it. Oh, she's not even skating. Baby girl, this doesn't count. As per the rules, I ignored it. I just kept running till I made it back to the break room. On the last patrol, the music had cut out again, so I quickly detoured and got to the break room as quickly as I could, the silence ringing in my ears. And now, here I was in the break room with 3 hours left. I stared at my phone's clock, ticking slowly towards 3 a.m. I stood up, shaking out my nervous energy, preparing myself to sprint. I'd been a runner back in high school, but in the past 10 years, I'd gotten way out of shape. Oh girl, me too. The last patrol had left me panting and breathless, legs aching. My hand closed around the doorknob, my heart hammered in my chest. 3, 2, 1, go. I wrenched the door open and shot out into the store, but I didn't get very far because there was an enormous pool of blood on the floor. Oh, okay. Water balloon fight is what I was gonna say. Water balloon fight. Holy shit. Oh, she's gonna go cheat the system. Oh, she's gonna go inside it, isn't she? The little giggle is so cute. Aw, she had a toy rocket from the claw. I froze. All of the air sucked out of my lungs. I stared at the blood shining in the fluorescent lights. The rules said to clean it up, but that would take at least 10 minutes. I wasn't safe out here. I swallowed. Then I hurried to the supply closet, got a mop and a bucket. A bucket and a mop. That's some... and started cleaning as fast as I could. The mop was messy. Oh, the job was messy, sorry. I slid the mop through the blood, then dunked it in the bucket. Rinsed and repeated. The soapy water tinged red. A few times it splashed up and almost landed on me. But I did it. I cleaned it all up without touching a drop. Unfortunately, by the time I was finished, it was 3:27. Time for my next patrol. I was too tired to run, so I settled for a brisk walk. Oh my goodness, what is happening to me? I headed up through the frozen food. I noticed now there were handprints on the glass doors handprints of all sizes, tilted and smudged, except the proportions looked all wrong, with fingers that were too long, too thin. I averted my eyes and kept going. 2.5 more hours. My footsteps clicked against the tile floor. I must have heard the same looping saxophone melody 20 times now. It made me want to punch something. Sighing, I continued towards the produce section, briskly walking past the aisles. Then I stopped. Something caught my eye in one of the aisles. I backed up and took a better look. Ooh, which one are you eating now? Cherry? Someone was standing in aisle 9. A woman. She wore a blue linen dress and black high heels. Long black hair cascaded down her back, almost to her waist. She faced away from me, standing still, her thin white arms hanging limply at her sides. In her hand was a basket filled with cuts of raw meat. Ew. The rule echoed in my head. If you see a woman in the store, immediately go to the break room. Do not make eye contact with her. I slowly backed up as quietly as I possibly could. Then I started down the next aisle towards the break room. Click, click, click. I heard her footsteps echo against the tile. I hurried my pace towards the break room, but then I stopped. Her footsteps weren't coming from behind me. They were coming from in front of me. Oh, you think they'll dance together? She's probably like, dance with me, Griffin. Not that he wants to, but he will. Oh, I guess they're not going to. He's gonna go make another fucking... Okay. Okay. I averted my eyes to the floor just as I saw 2 black high-heeled shoes step into the aisle. I stared at the floor. Do not make eye contact with her. Do not make eye contact with her. The words repeated over and over in my head, but I had to get to the break room, and she was standing in my way. All I could see were her shiny, high-heeled shoes and the little drops of blood that leaked out of the meat packages in her basket, staining the floor. I backed up. That was the only way I could go. I kept my eyes on the floor, careful not to look up, but she was following me. Click, click. For every step I took, I saw a shiny black heel come into view, attached to a thin, white calf extent. Keeping time with me. I quickened my pace. So did she. Click, click, click. I wheeled around and broke into a sprint. Click, click, click. I ran down an aisle at random and sprinted towards the break room, but then halfway down the aisle, I stopped. A shopping cart was parked across the middle of the aisle, blocking my way. Not just one cart, several of them, stacked up in a teetering tower that was nearly as tall as the aisle themselves. Damn, Branch. Are you and Branch gonna like, ooh, cast charm. Good luck charm. Aw, that's cute. Oh. Oops. I guess that didn't go very well. And now you're not lucky because of it. I was trapped. I backed away, my heart pounding. Click. Slow, methodical footsteps coming towards me, slowly like a cat stalking its prey. I took my chances. I turned around, sprinted back out into the open, and stepped into the next aisle. Oh no. No. I knew it instantly. A tattered lump of gray clothing and sickly pale blue skin sat on the floor. The person, the creature, the thing, folded in on itself, in a pose reminiscent of a crying child, but obviously wasn't anything resembling a human, with its strange lumps and appendages and complete lack of head. I had stepped into aisle 7. Wait, why are you creeped out from socialization? You need to go home. Oh, she was already on her way. She was like, bye. I immediately reversed direction, but not before the thing unfolded itself and began to move towards me. I whipped around and screaming, sprinted down the next aisle. Miraculously, I made it to the end in one piece. I veered sharply left towards the break room. Almost there. Almost there. My hand hit the doorknob. I watched it open and dove inside. Then I collapsed in the chair, panting. I sucked in a breath, staring at the locked door. Am I really safe in here? Technically, the rules never said I would be safe. Maybe staying in here only decreased my chance of death. I turned my attention to the security camera feed on the monitor. It showed the middle of the store, and from what I could see, the aisles were empty. No trace of the woman. I switched to the next feed, produce section, empty. I switched to the next one. I jumped. She was standing right there, in front of the break room door. She stood so still, the image could have been a photograph, except for the blood slowly dripping from the meat in her basket. I slowed and glanced away from the monitor, at the door. My heart slammed in my ribs when I saw her shadow under the door. Wait. There can't be... Oh, it's probably a haunting. Yeah, there's a ghost over here. I was like, no, there's no way that someone could be robbing us right now, but no. Let's sell our flowers that we collected. Well, it seems that now we have enough to buy a little station and a fairy house, hopefully. They also don't have jobs right now. I'll make it green. Which is probably not the greatest thing ever, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. Go away. Please go away. I bleated in my mind. The shadow of her head in the window tilted, as if contemplating her next move. Now I knew why the window had been covered. I forced my eyes away and looked back at the screen. She was still standing there, except there was something different about the way she was standing. I squinted at the grainy black and white image, trying to figure out what was going on. When my eyes finally fell on her heels, I realized they were facing forward. But I was still looking at the back of her head, at the long black hair cascading to her waist. Either her hair was hanging over her face, or she'd turned her head all the way around. It must have been 20 minutes before she began to walk away from the door. I couldn't tell if it was just the low frame rate of these crummy cameras, but her movements looked jerky, her body lurching with each step. It made me sick to watch. When she disappeared from the screen, I let out a breath of relief. My hands and legs were shaking, weak. Okay, think. The rule said to wait until she left. All I had to do was watch the feed by the front door. As soon as I saw her leave the store, I'd be safe. I mean, would she leave the store? After a few minutes of sitting there, waiting for my heart rate to return to normal, I forced my fingers back to the keyboard. I pressed the arrow key to move to the next feed, then the next and the next, looking for the camera at the front of the store. No. Her face. Her face filled the entire screen. Her eyes filled me with horror. They were pure white. No pupils, no irises, just pure white eyes threaded with spidery veins. I screamed and jumped back. Then I shut my eyes. The rules said don't make eye contact. Did that count? Through the screen, I let out a terrified, shuddering wail and covered my face with my hands, my entire body shaking. When I finally took a peek through my fingers, I saw her, rapidly scaling down the wall, away from the camera, on the ceiling, like some kind of spider. This is freaking disgusting and creepy. Then she pushed through the glass doors and disappeared into the night. She'd left. I was safe. Or as safe as I could be, in this cursed grocery store. I glanced at the clock, 3:58. Time to patrol. I really didn't want to, but I forced myself to swing the door open and run as fast as I could through the store. I saw shopping carts stacked in teetering towers, heard hands pounding against the freezer doors, saw little spots of blood on the shiny tile from the woman as she'd stalked me. And then a minute later, I was done. I locked myself in the break room, and for the first time in years, began to sob. The remaining patrols went by without incident, though I did hear more sobbing from aisle 7 and more banging from the freezers. And then the hour had come, 6 a.m. My heart soared at the sight of the pink dawn sky through the glass doors. I was safe. I was free. When I glanced out into the parking lot, I saw a few cars pulling in. Disgruntled, groggy employees clutching coffees, heading towards me. As soon as the first one came in, I flew out of the store, ran to my car, and got out of there as fast as I could. I'd never felt such relief, such happiness. I felt like a new man. All of my problems, even my financial ones, seemed dwarfed by what I'd endured. When I pulled out onto the main road, I rolled down my windows and flicked on the radio. But it wasn't my usual classic rock station that blared through the speakers. Instead, I heard the upbeat tune of a saxophone. And as I listened to that horrible looping melody, I realized that my days as a night guard for West Market may not be over yet. Holy shit! That story was the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my freaking life. I don't even know how to comprehend that, because it was just crazy. Well, anyway, that was the first one. I honestly really enjoy this person's writing, as well as I was looking at their Reddit, and honestly, they have other really good stories as well that I could read. So if you like this, let me know, because I'm so down to do another one of these. I think it's so fun to just kind of just play, but also read at the same time. And of course, I can always play another game as well instead of just The Sims. But just let me know on that one, because I could also just continue doing this save, or I could do another save. I just wanted it to be cute and cozy for my Halloween vibes. So the second story is on the Creepy Encounters subreddit. So it's a real story that happened to someone instead of a fictional story, just to creep us out. And it's called A Man Thought I Was Alone on Padre Island. So Selena's up for the day. Of course, it's 7:40 in the morning. I'm gonna have her make some breakfast. I know there's waffles in the fridge, but I don't really care. She likes making breakfast. She's a natural cook. This story dates back to spring 2016. At the time, I was in my late 20s. I was young and fit with very long blonde hair. a total hippie chick that had quit her job to travel the US with my ex at the time. And this was pre-pandemic, before the van life / tiny home movement really took off. So she was doing it before then. We left our home in the Midwest of January that year after holiday celebrations, saying goodbye to friends and family. By sometime in April or early May, we made it to southern Texas and decided to check out Padre Island National Seashore. For those of you unfamiliar with Padre Island, it is a seashore that you can drive right onto with your vehicle. My now ex and I were in a 26-foot Class C 1976 Chevy motorhome. We drove into the island at nighttime, and waking up the next morning was the most insane and phenomenal experience. The ocean was a mere 15 feet away. I mean, the visual was so breathtaking. I will never forget it. Girl, are you okay? Like, hello? What the fuck? She's struggling, obviously. We arrived on a Thursday or Friday and the beach was beyond packed. Another thing for people unfamiliar with Padre, it is where many Texans, high schoolers and college kids mainly, flock to for their spring break. Spring break was just the week prior to when we got there, or maybe still going on. Either way, it was busy and we had an awesome weekend partying away. During this weekend, we noticed that workers for the park would often drive down the beach. They were very protective of their sea turtle population there and would slowly drive by in marked vehicles a few times a day. I like how they're coming to sit next to each other. Who peed in the house? Who fucking peed in the house? Something's going on. By Monday morning, we awoke to find the entire island emptied out. When I tell you we were literally the only ones, both when you looked left or right, we were the only ones for what seemed like miles. It was a gorgeous morning, so I walked the dog quickly and then came inside to sit at our pop-up dining room table to do some journaling. My ex was asleep on the very back couch. We were backed in with the windshield facing the ocean, so of course I took a seat looking towards the beautiful view. She's throwing a fairy house party! Bianca Crumplebottom. Wait, girl, I want you to meet her. Ranch. Maybe 15 minutes after I sat down to journal, a gray beat-up pickup truck drove by kind of quickly, heading towards the direction of the park entrance. That was the first activity I'd seen on the island that morning, and thought nothing of it. What did you just... No, you're joking. I don't trust you to repair this, but I'm gonna have you do it anyway. I want to go to the wolf family residence so she can meet a werewolf, and then after that I'm gonna have her get some stuff to plant so that she can make a garden. However, 5 to 10 minutes later, the same truck came driving back past our RV, this time much slower. The man driving the pickup was going so slow, in fact, that we made eye contact for several seconds as he went back by. He also seemed to drive closer to our vehicle in order to see better inside. Alarm bells should have been ringing at this point, but I kind of just shrugged it off. I was very much in my free spirit phase and was not easily off-put. Girl, I would have been running. I would have been like, okay, let's go. As soon as honestly, if he fucking came by the first time, I would have been like, peace. Happy Wolf is walking by, so I'm just gonna go say hello to him. This is where it gets really creepy. So obviously, this guy needed to turn back around since he was driving away from the park entrance again. But I was honestly minding my own business. I kind of immediately put him out of my mind. But yes, several minutes later, another 10 minutes maybe, the man came back. But this time, he pulled directly up to our RV with his truck, essentially nose to nose at a 45-degree angle, to appear as if he were giving a jump. Not far-fetched for a 70s vehicle on the salty beach, blocking us in. It was at this point my heart dropped and I began to get scared. I screamed my ex's name immediately, and up he jumped from the couch. I know he could hear the panic in my voice. I'll never forget how quickly he got up and how he had his arms spread across while he ducked down to see through the windshield. He was a 6'5", very bearded man, and I'm 1000% sure the only reason that the man in the gray beat-up truck sped off like a bat out of hell. It took several minutes for my heart rate to return to normal. My ex and I looked at each other. That was the most unusual encounter on our trip yet. Surprisingly, we stayed another week after that, in the same spot. The idea never entered my head that the man could bring reinforcement and come back for me, / us. I was so very foolishly fearless and naive back then. I don't think she's getting along with him. Can we playfully pester him? I'm going to scold him for being destructive because that's not what we do in this house. And then I'm going to have him research some alchemy. Anyway, it wasn't until later that day that another fact dawned on me. When my ex and I had arrived over the weekend, we only pulled out one camping chair. That one camping chair was in plain sight next to our RV outside. Prior to this spot, we had never done that. We always got both chairs out. But we ended up using driftwood to sit on when we had our bonfires. And so that was a nail in the coffin for me. The scary man in the gray truck absolutely thought I was a young girl all alone, and I still wonder to this day, almost 10 years later, what all he had in mind for me that morning. And then this is also like an edit. Out of curiosity, I just Googled Padre Island National Seashore murder, and it looks like a murder of an RV couple occurred in 2019. That's fucking scary. That's scary because that was only 3 years later after that they were there. So I feel, ooh, view party invitation. I'll be there. Oh, Onyx has a fucking flea bath. I mean, fleas. God damn it, Onyx. We don't even have a bath. We don't even have a bath and they both have fleas. Is this freaking bullshit, dude? What is this bullshit? Honestly, that's so scary. But like at the same time, I probably would have left already because I would be too scared to stay there after that. But I'm also a very paranoid person, as one would be in life now. So I feel as though it makes sense to not be as paranoid back in the 70s, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that was the second story. A little shorter than the rest, but I'm okay with that because the first one was absolutely long as hell. Can you imagine if that was them instead of the couple in 2019? Like, Jesus, it was only 3 years apart. I mean, that serial killer or murderer, whoever, was probably alive at the time. So who's to say like that they couldn't have been? Who's Richter Wood? I don't know. Richter Wood? Is that what that's supposed to be? Janet. Oh my God. Everyone known to man is coming here. So the next story is another no sleep story. So, and it's a little on the longer side, just like the first one. Okay, we'll plant this red berry bean. He has some witchy stuff that she can plant. No sleep stories can be a little bit scarier, but only because they're made up most of the time. It depends though, because the creepy encounter stories can get scary. Like, I do think it's really crazy, the one that we just read, because it's more of a real life situation. It's more relatable. Like, it's something that could actually happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's definitely on the creepier side. So this one is called My Roommate Has Been in the Shower for More Than 4 Hours. Sounds crazy, to be honest. So I got home at around 11 p.m. Late night at the office turned into an even later night at the bar. About 4 drinks deep at this point, and I'm tired, just about ready to fall asleep as I stumble through the doorway. I lay down on the couch and reach for my bag. I don't know if I could say this on YouTube. Bag of paraphernalia that's shaped like a tube. And spark one up as I pull YouTube on my laptop. Not trying to, get flagged here. Sorry, guys. Where the hell is freaking Pip? Gosh darn it. The Goodfellow house. No one's home at their own party? Is he throwing it somewhere? Is that why? I'm in the middle of watching some luxury cruise tour, close to passing out when I hear the front door open. I sit up and turn my head slightly, just enough to see my roommate coming in. He hangs his jacket in the closet and doesn't say anything, which is normal enough. I've been living with him for about 3 months, long enough for me to pick up on most of his tendencies. The guy doesn't really talk unless spoken to, which was far from a problem for me. He also generally kept things clean on his end, never causing much in the way of problems. So I go back to watching YouTube, and about 5 minutes later, I hear the shower in his room turning on. He has a shower in his room? Goddamn. Once again, nothing strange. At this point, I'm watching bare knuckle boxing highlights with my eyes half open. I'm dead. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes away from passing out. I remember waking up in the darkness, my head hurting, my throat dry as hell. I sat up slowly, waiting for the grogginess to settle into something manageable. Not as going to her house just to bathe our pets. Once it did, I grabbed my phone, checked the time, around 3:30 a.m. from what I remember. I was starving, and so I got up, began walking towards the fridge, and then I noticed it. A soft but ever-present noise in the background. It took me a few seconds to really recognize what it was. The shower. Suddenly, the events of last night began replaying in my head. Drinking at the bar, Ubering home, laptop, couch, my roommate coming home, the shower turning on. Let me in! Let me in! I stood there for a while trying to make sense of it. Maybe he went to bed and forgot to turn it off? I shook my head. There's no way that happened, I thought. They're just gonna have to deal with the fleas. No way. I can't bathe them. That's so annoying. All right, whatever. I give up. I give up, guys. This is annoying. I feel stupid now. It is what it is. Whatever. Anyway. Maybe he slipped and fell? Realizing the implications of this, I rushed towards his room, but found his bathroom door locked. I began pounding on it. Hey man, you alright? No response. I considered kicking the door down, but decided to call 911 before I did that. I took my phone out, preparing to dial, when I noticed that I had an unread text. One from my roommate. Hey man, I couldn't sleep, so I went over to my girlfriend's place, not sure when I'll be back. Sent 2 hours ago. I look at the bathroom door, then back down at my phone. Everything about this was wrong. First of all, my roommate barely texts me, and certainly never to tell me that he's going out. Second of all, I know for a fact that he's single and has been for a while. And third of all, who the fuck was in the shower then? Ooh, this one's getting me. So I just need him to mix an elixir because he can make money off of that and consign his stuff. I tried calling him, no answer. Sent him some texts, but no response. I walked over to his desk and saw that his keys and wallet were still beside his laptop. My head's starting to spin at this point, and I get out of there. I go back into the living room and turn on the lights. I'm pacing around in a circle, trying to follow the plot, while also trying to ignore the shower. A noise that I never could have imagined being so dreadful in any context. Sometime later, I hear something vibrating on the kitchen counter. I move towards it and see that it's a phone. My roommate's phone. The panic begins setting in, and immediately I grab my keys and run out of the apartment. I make my way down the hall and take the stairs down to the lobby, but even that doesn't seem far enough away, and so I make my way over to the McDonald's across the street. I sit there for a while, considering calling the cops, but for some reason feeling too nervous to do so. But even then, though there's hardly anybody in there, the place begins to feel suffocating and I decide to leave, walking back out onto the empty streets. I'm gonna have him make a cure elixir. Almost immediately, I get this feeling that I'm being watched, and I feel my gaze drifting up and towards the apartment. Soon, I'm looking at my balcony, and I see somebody standing there. A dark figure stood completely straight, stiff to the point where it nearly resembles a mannequin. But it isn't one. If I look closely, I can see it just slightly swaying. I froze in place, my mind hardly able to understand or accept what it was I was seeing. It's not my roommate. It's too tall. In fact, it's too tall to be anybody I know. Its head nearly scraping the bottom of the balcony above. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make out any of its details. The darkness and distance may have been enough to explain that away, but there was something about it that drove me towards a different conclusion. That this thing simply possessed no details that could have been observed. That the only element of its composition was that of unadulterated darkness. No, I'd shit myself. Sincerely, I really would. I would shit myself so hard. Because what do you freaking mean? That there's some rando possessed human figure, just like, what happened to the roommate? What happened to the fucking roommate? Of course my gut instinct was to get the hell away from it, but the voice in my head was telling me that if I was to try and run, this thing would end up following. If you sleep in the bed, you're gonna give me fleas, dude. I went back into the McDonald's instead, locking myself in the bathroom as I finally dialed 911. I told the operator that somebody had broken into my place, but that I had gotten out of there without them noticing. But they were still in there. It was the story that most accurately represented the situation without making me come across as batshit. Pretty much. I'm gonna have him make another elixir so he has something to sell tomorrow. The operator told me that they'd be sending somebody over for me to hang tight. I left the bathroom, waiting at the table closest to the exit until I could see the red and blue lights cutting through the darkness. I went outside to meet the cops, looking up at the balcony to find it empty, though the door to the living room had been left open. They pelted me with a bunch of questions that I found difficult to answer. Is the intruder armed? Do I have an idea who it might be? What are their intentions? I told them I didn't know, that I couldn't figure it out, but they just kept on asking. Soon I was practically yelling at them to go up there and check it out for themselves, and I suppose the terror in my voice was enough for them to begin taking this seriously. They told me to wait by the entrance, and I watched on as they entered the building. I was out there for a long time, growing increasingly anxious at the thought of what they were going to tell me when they came down. This is so vibey. Look at him just making this elixir. A few minutes later, the silence was broken by a single muffled gunshot. My heart dropped into my stomach, and I continued to wait there, unsure of what to do otherwise. 20 more minutes of silence, and the officers still hadn't come down. Soon I could hear more of them approaching in the distance. Before I knew it, 4 more cop cars had pulled up around me, and the scene had fallen into chaos. Officers shouting over each other and into their radios. More questions being hurled my way, none of which I was able to answer. I want him to bring his consigned goods to the shop today. I'm gonna have her tend her garden. The next few sequences were mostly a blur, but I remember the building being evacuated. The tenants frightened and confused as they were ushered outside while the officers became more and more frantic. I remembered hearing more scattered gunshots, some screaming, other noises that were difficult to make sense of. There were a few lapses in my memory after that, but I recall being pushed into the back of a police car. After being driven to the station, I was led into one of the interrogation rooms, where I found two nondescript men in suits waiting for me. They didn't introduce themselves and immediately went into a series of questions, each one more bizarre than the last. What company was your roommate employed by? What was the nature of his job? How many different people have been inside your apartment since your roommate moved in? Have you ever heard voices inside the apartment from the hours of midnight to 3 a.m.? Voices that did not belong to your roommate? Have you ever seen a circle of people standing outside of the apartment from the hours of midnight to 3 a.m.? People that were exceptionally tall? The fuck? What the fuck? And one of the most unsettling ones, have you ever seen somebody standing at the foot of your bed upon waking up between the hours of midnight to 3 a.m., only for them to disappear moments later? If so, do you remember what they looked like? Any distinct features? As they continued probing me, my mind began conjuring up some of the strangest shit that had happened after my roommate had moved in. Shit that I had written off as figments of my imagination, simply because I had no other explanation for them. I did hear the voices, always coming from the room next to mine where my roommate slept. I was always so tired when I heard them, but I do remember it either sounding like a young woman or a man with an extremely deep voice. I could never make out any words. It always sounded like gibberish. And then there was that one time where I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night, still half asleep. I didn't bother turning the lights on as I entered. But as my eyes began adjusting to the dark, I could have sworn that somebody was already sitting on the toilet. Somebody extremely tall. Of course, when I turned on the lights, nothing was there. It was easy to chalk it up as a product of late-night drowsiness at the time, and I never really thought about it since. After doing my best to give them useful information, the suits spent a good few minutes taking notes on their phones. Once they were done, they sat up quickly, told me that they'd be in touch before leaving the room. A cop came in a few minutes later and told me that since I couldn't return to the apartment, they would set me up in a nearby hotel until they were able to get the situation under control, and that I should stay put until they gave me a call. What happened? I asked him. What did you guys find up there? He stared at me for a long time. Not as if he were deep in thought, but as if he held deep aversion for what he was considering telling me. Eventually, he just shook his head. I don't know, he said. I really don't know. I nodded. Tried to smile, though I'm sure it didn't come across very well. It's the next day now, and I'm in the hotel. Of course I couldn't sleep, couldn't really eat. The officer hasn't called me yet. When I try searching up information about the evacuation on the internet, all I can find are articles claiming that it was due to a fire. A fucking fire. Update. There's an update. I fell asleep and I just woke up. It's 1 a.m. now, and I can hear the shower. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. No. That story was so fucking good. Guys, what the hell? That was so creepy. I really liked that one. Holy shit. So I'm guessing it was like flesh pedestrian type shit, or what? I really enjoyed that one, honestly. So this last story is also by Blair Daniels. He or she is really good at making these like creepy stories. This last one is called Our House is Breathing, which sounds absolutely freaking terrifying in itself, to be honest. And I'm really wondering how this is gonna go, but can I consign? Yes, Vial of Bliss, Cure Elixir. We tried to consign them. Hopefully people will buy them because that would suck if they didn't. Oh, cool. You sold items worth 118. You've been charged 11 in consignment fees. Wait, why is this literally giving us more money? Oh wait, hold on, don't go home yet. Catch this. To start with the story. Ooh, the magic jelly bean. I'll get all of the harvestables. I don't give a frig. We'd given up on our dream of ever owning a house long ago. We'd been priced out post-COVID, plain and simple. I'd accepted our fate. We'd be renting a 3-bedroom ranch from some old guy named Leonard that measured the nicks in the wall with a micrometer. We'd keep forking over cash every month, year after year, always treading water in danger of drowning at any time. But then we found 27 Hillside Lane, and all of that changed. It was priced way below market value. I should have known then there was something wrong with it. Water damage, fire damage, wasp in the walls, maybe even a ghost or two, but the house passed inspection and it was now or never. We bought the house. It was the biggest mistake of our lives. Ooh, dramatic. I first noticed it when I was cooking dinner on day 4 in the new house. I didn't even realize that he could practice alchemy here and I didn't have to waste my money. It's fine. We already have it. I'm not going to sell it. I dismissed it until I turned around and felt it a second time across the middle of my back, like someone was reaching out and caressing me. First of all, fucking ew. That's disgusting. I held my hands out and closed my eyes, focusing on the feeling, but there was no denying it. There was definitely a breeze. I checked the vent hood thing, something our previous kitchen didn't have. Something that was still utterly perplexing to me. Eric, did you turn the vent on? I don't think so. Why? I feel a breeze. It couldn't be the heating system. It was an old house with baseboard, heat, and unit air conditioners, built around the 1930s. The real estate agent never told us the exact year, and the Trulia listing played that nasty trick where someone had entered the year it was renovated as the year it was built. We're going to smoke the box and harvest the honey. I love The Sims 3. Anyway. Looks like it's off, Eric said, checking the hood. Do you feel it though? He stood still in front of me, concentrating. Yeah, I guess I do, he said finally. So that was it then. Bought a drafty old house with shit insulation. Of course, there had to be something wrong. We'd bought the house in September when it was still warm. Now, well, into October, we were getting those bone-cold nights where the air just pulls the warmth out of your skin. We were going to be in for a terrible winter and terrible heating bills if this was really how drafty the house was. Except the breeze didn't feel cold. Oh, we got honey. Perfect. Oh my god, it's so... Oh my god, yes. See, what do I even need? Like, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to put a fence around the crops, though, because of the full moon. Okay, except the breeze didn't feel cold. It almost felt warm. The chicken was starting to burn. I ran over and grabbed it out of the oil with tongs. Ava, Hayden, dinner! As I picked off the burnt pieces of breading, I forgot all about it. That night, I couldn't sleep because I went down what I call the OCD spiral of death. Me. When I find that one thing wrong and convince myself someone's going to die, we're all going to die. Or the world's going to implode. Me as fuck. Here's how mine started. I googled random breeze in house, and one of the results talked about a gas leak. Ooh, girl. Ooh, why would you do that? Why would you do that, girl? That's silly of you. I'd replayed Ava and Hayden's funerals in my head. I'm guessing these are her children. 3 times before I picked up the phone and called the gas company. The kids were already asleep, and it was after hours, but I didn't care. I would not be sleeping until I was sure the house was safe. Oh, right. They have, fleas. I should probably buy a bathtub now that I can afford it. The guy that rang the doorbell was young. A young, spindly guy of maybe 22. He wandered in carrying a heavy toolbox. $1,000 for this goddamn bathtub. Oh, and now we have fleas. Great. Great. No, great. No, that's so cool. Eric had already gone back to bed, thoroughly annoyed that I'd called anyone in the first place. You're overreacting. We're not going to die. Do it in the morning. Normally, I'd snipe back at him, but in the interest of time, I simply ignored him. Keep going, baby boy. Baby boy? Baby boy. So where do you feel the wind? The young guy asked, getting set up. The kitchen. He pulled out some sort of meter. It let out a beep. He roamed around the room, then went upstairs and down. Pulled out another meter and did the same thing. No gas leak, he told me, and he set down the meter. Pulled out his phone and shot off a text to someone. I hope he knows what he's talking about. But everything else looks normal? I pressed. Oh yeah, your CO2 levels are a little high. How many people you got living here? 4. Really? Just 4? Any pets? No. I guess it's poor ventilation or something. Everything else is normal though. Radon, natural gas, VOCs. He started telling me how I could buy an air quality meter on Amazon, but I wasn't listening. Because I felt it again. The breeze. It was against the nape of my neck, against my ears and my cheeks, fluttering all the little flyaways that had escaped my ponytail. And I realized something. The breeze was changing direction. Can I give the dog a bath? Gosh darn it. This man's going to bed. He said, bye. The little hairs on the nape of my neck fluttered one way. Then a few seconds later, they fluttered the other way. What the hell? Do you feel it right now? The breeze? Yeah, I do feel it actually. Does it seem to be going opposite directions? Like in, out, in, out? I trailed off swallowing, like someone's right here, breathing. He stared at me. Then he lowered his voice. Did the real estate agent tell you what happened in this house? My throat went dry. No. The family that lived here before you, he said, taking in a breath, found dead. All 4 of them. Hanging from that tree outside. He pointed toward the backyard. My stomach fell to the floor. Oh my god, this is giving fucking, no freaking ways. It's like Sinister. That's so cool. No one would buy the house because everyone thought it was haunted. That's why it was so cheap. I opened my mouth, but I couldn't say a word. I choked on air, and then the guy let out a wheezing laugh. I'm just playing with you. I felt the heat rise to my cheeks. Sorry. Wait, really, I'm sorry. You're not going to report me to my boss or something, are you? I forced a smile. No, it's fine. Damn kids. Okay, thanks. Thanks so much. He packed up. So you're all good, right? I nodded. Thanks for coming out so late. He stepped out into the darkness. I slammed the door, my whole body shaking. Breathing. That's really what it felt like. It wasn't all the time. Sometimes I couldn't feel it. Sometimes I could feel it powerfully. Oh my god, it's leisure day! Oh, we should definitely throw like some sort of party. Maybe a pool party. If it stops raining, we could throw a pool party. Oh, someone's awake. Okay, Griffin. Griffin, listen. You're gonna prepare waffles? Oh, I'm scared for my life. I can't believe he's preparing waffles. Let's see if he burns them. That'd be so funny. Gosh, he is so... Anyway, I ended up taking the guy's suggestion and buying an air quality meter. He was right, the CO2 levels were really high. So I opened some windows to ventilate, and because it was a lot less disturbing when the windows were open. As it turned out, however, the breeze was far from the only thing wrong with this house. On Tuesday afternoon, I decided to do some unpacking while Eric was at work and the kids were at school. I was feeling frustrated, both with my work. I was editing photos after one of my family photo sessions. And because it seemed like I'd misplaced my engagement ring for the upteenth time. Oh girl. Me, literally me. I mean, I'm not engaged, but I misplace my rings all the time. Besides, the house was really bothering me. Everything felt too blank, too sterile. Oh my god, no, this isn't happening. This isn't happening right now. This is why he shouldn't cook. This is why we leave it to the professionals, okay? This is why we leave it to the professionals. 8 a.m. in the freaking morning. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Can you help? Hello? Oh, Jesus. 400? Oh my god. She's gonna yell at him for sure. Argue with him. Because what the hell? What the actual hell, dude? Like, what is wrong with you, sincerely? Ooh. She's like, I'll make freaking... Not the canned soup. I'll make the freaking breakfast. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's not even gonna have her breakfast. He's gonna go out to eat. He's gonna eat here alone at the diner. I'm dead. I can't. That's so funny. Anyway, back to the fucking story. Jesus. Okay, so yeah, the house was really bothering me. Everything felt too blank, too sterile. It wasn't ours yet, without the ceramic red chicken in the kitchen, or the collage of family photos on the wall, or my photo of an autumn forest hanging in the foyer. So I got out the stud finder, some nails, and got to work. The stud finder was one of those magnetic ones that you hang from a string to find the nails in the studs. So I'd be nailing into wood rather than flimsy drywall. So there I stood, swinging the stud finder back and forth on a piece of tie-dyed yarn in front of the wall, like some kind of weirdo. I waited to feel a tug, waited for it to catch. Nothing happened. I stood there for 15 minutes, repositioning the stud finder, walking closer and farther away, holding it at an angle, swinging it fast and slow. The stud finder never found a nail. Am I using it wrong? But I'd hung up stuff a few times before. I'd never had this much trouble. I tried different rooms, but it never caught on anything. I finally gave up. Instead, I went to get the mail before the kids got home and everything descended into chaos. When I turned around, I looked at the house. Really looked at it. It was an odd-looking house, that much was true. A small Victorian, scalloped shingles, painted robin's egg blue, with stark white trim. A porch with engraved support columns, bare except for an old rocking chair the previous owners had left. A turret in the west corner with a little spire that poked into the deep blue September sky. Gosh, I love turrets. The turret was just a facade, sort of. It was just a small outpocketing in the living room, like a bay window, almost. All of the turret that extended taller than the height of the house was just part of the attic. People always picture some sort of medieval tower with spiraling stairs. I know I did, but it isn't true. Well, that sucks, because that's what I thought it was. Okay, let's throw a pool party. Do we know enough people? Probably not. To rent it, it's $250. We don't have $250. No, right. No, right. Group up with Griffin. Why do you want to group up with him? You hate him. I headed back inside, sifting through the mail as I went. But when I got to the front door, I stopped dead. I was locked out. For fuck's sake, I said under my breath. I tried the door a few more times, then I went around the back, but that door was locked too. I sighed and stared up at the old house. Eric wouldn't be home for a few hours. Even if he could leave work early, I couldn't text him. I didn't have my phone. As I paced around the house a second time, I noticed one of the windows was open in the living room. Of course, I'd left them open to ventilate. I started popping the screen out. The yard sloped gently back, though, so the opening was actually a few feet higher than a normal first-story window, which would make getting in a challenge. I set the screen against the side of the house and started to pull myself up. Making a complete fool of myself, I hung on for dear life and scrabbled to swing a leg over the windowsill. I slipped and fell into the soft, wet dirt. Pain shot up my hands and knees. I slowly got up, and as I did, realized there was blood on my hands. I cut them somehow when I fell. Defeated, I walked back to the front porch to collect my thoughts. On a whim, I tried the door one final time, my blood smearing over the brass knob. This time, it opened. There's something wrong with this house. The kids had already gone to sleep. I could tell Eric was annoyed. He was scowling at me over a John Grisham book. Eyebrows raised. The door was locked, I swear, and then it was open. I explained everything in excruciating detail, from the breathing to the door to the lack of studs, how that factored into everything else I didn't know. I even told him how when I went to clean the doorknob, my blood appeared to be gone. Ew, I don't like that. Ooh, royal purple butterfly. Bye. Now we have enough money. It just didn't make sense. So, what are you trying to say? The house is haunted or something? I pressed my lips together. Maybe. He laughed. Okay. Maggie Donovan. Reminds me of Matt Donovan. We'll make some grilled cheese for them, and we'll bring it so everyone can have some. What, you don't believe me? I think maybe the stress of moving out is getting to you. He closed his book and set it down, looking more serious now. We were in the ranch for almost 10 years. It's a big change. Everything is so new. I'm not having a great time with it either, to be honest. Really? Everything's in the wrong place all the time. I can't find anything, and it's always too warm in here. I get all sweaty at night. And, well, his expression changed suddenly as if he glanced at something behind me. I don't even know how they tolerate each other, to be honest. They're not even acquaintances. I guess I noticed something kind of weird too. My blood ran cold. What? Okay, so, look at the door frame of the closet, he said. Look up in the corner. I turned around and looked. The wood trim around the closet door was beveled and painted white, like molding or wainscoting. A little fancier than the room deserved, but I didn't notice anything off. I don't see anything. Look, there aren't any seams. I stepped over to the door. He was right. In the corner, I'd expect to see a thin seam, where the side trim met the top. There wasn't any. It looked like someone had carved the entire trim out of one piece of wood, which didn't even seem possible. The closet door was about 7 feet tall and 3 feet wide, which would require a red wood, basically. Oh my god, what was that? Did you see that? Did you see that? I'm scared for my life. Oh my god, we don't have any money because she just made 8 things of hot dogs. Whoops. Maybe it's just really good craftsmanship. I checked every window frame, every door frame. There are no seams anywhere in this house. It doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't. My heart began to pound. I felt uneasy. Suddenly too hot. Obviously, haunted houses don't exist, he said quickly, as if my anxiety might pull him into depths of conspiracy theory he didn't want to follow. Why is he embarrassed? Oh, probably because the people that he's talking to, because he's a hothead and he doesn't know how to be normal. But there is something a little off about this house. I will give you that. I stared at the doorframe, my heart pounding. Something was very wrong here. I woke with a start. A start? What? A startle? I don't know, man. The bedside clock read 3:43. I rolled over, wrapping the blanket snugly around me, trying to fall back asleep. That's when I heard it. A heavy thump coming from above us. Every muscle in my body froze. I turned to Eric, shaking him. Did you hear that? I whispered. Hear what? Something in the attic. He muttered something about squirrels and bats and how it was nothing to be afraid of. I shook him harder. Finally, he sat up in bed, groaning. Okay, he said, pulling on his pants. I'll go check it out. I rocketed down the hallway to check on the kids as he pulled down the attic hatch. What the fuck? Okay, sure. By the time I made it back, he was already halfway up, bare feet on the old, warped fold-out stairs. Do you see anything? I called. No. I watched him disappear into the attic, the shadows overtaking him, completely covering him, like the darkness wasn't just the absence of light, but something, a presence. I held my breath, listening to his footsteps thump above me. Wait. What is that? My blood ran cold. Hang on. I shouldn't have gone up after him, but in the moment, the curiosity, the dread, gripped me and I catapulted up the stairs, phone poised to dial 911. 911. 911. When I found Eric, he was standing at the far west end of the attic, the corner where the turret was. He was standing in the doorway of it, where the attic pocketed out into the turret's final door. Eric, what is it? Oh, his form was blocking whatever he was looking at. For a moment, he said nothing, not even turning around to look at me. Ranch, go on a date? No, I'm good on that. It seems as though the party's over. Ooh, you know what? No, it's not. 11 p.m. Ooh, Velvet Lounge. I'm going there. For a moment, he said nothing, not even turning around to look at me. I don't know, he finally answered. What do you mean you don't know? I walked toward him, my phone's flashlight scanning over the unfinished space. Insulation hung out of the walls like tufts of cotton candy. Plywood creaked underneath my feet. I quickened my pace. And then I peeked around Eric's shoulder, into the space. Lying on the floor was a twisted rope, wet with some kind of fluid. My eyes followed it to a shape, slumped in the corner. It looked roughly humanoid. For a heart-stopping second, I thought, oh no, the previous owner never left. But I realized in the light, it wasn't a body. It was something hewn from knotted wood and pink, fleshy insulation, and splotches of white drywall, parts of the house shaped into the form of a person. Something sparkled on one of its wooden fingers. My engagement ring. As we stared in a stunned silence, there was a horrible snap of wood, and I swear the thing tilted its head. Eric and I raced across the attic, down the ladder, but I could feel the wood moving underneath me, shifting, buckling, trying to get me to fall. On the last step, I lost my footing. With a shriek, I careened backwards. Pain shot up my back. My head felt like it was being split open. I scrambled to my feet. Pain shot up my leg as I limped towards the kids' room. It felt like I'd sprained my ankle. Eric woke the kids and we scrambled out of the house. In the driveway, as we packed into the car, I could see movement. Movement in the attic. A humanoid shadow looked down at us from the turret window. Wow. No, that's crazy. The house was literally alive. Like, it was some weird house, like little guy that looked like a little house. These stories are wild. Blair Daniels has crazy stories. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want more of these because I'm so down to continue. Even if it's like another game, it doesn't have to be The Sims every time. I can just tell creepy stories while I'm playing any like cozy game. I'm totally down for that. Are we getting robbed or is it... I think it's a haunting because look at all of these freaking people. We got Marco, we got Victor, we got Jimmy, we got Ezra. Oh my god, wait! Who wants to visit the graveyard? It's literally right there. I don't think we're getting robbed. I think it's... Oh no, we are getting robbed! Play fairy trick. Hothead. It was look like the... What? Hello? What did they even take? Ooh. She could work at the catacombs. Ooh, that would be so cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Happy Halloween, and I hope you enjoy your Halloween. Stay safe and have fun. Also, comment what you're being for Halloween. I would love to know. I'm really excited. I love Halloween so much. I'm being a clown. I was also going to be Beast Boy. We'll see about Beast Boy. Who knows? I was also going to be Eric Draven from The Crow, but that costume did not work out. So maybe next year. Who knows? Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.